What's going on? All right. Having a little discussion tonight with Mr. Bryan Tsi0lkas about Angler of the Year and see how he pulled that off and to see what his plans are for 2024. So, no further ado, bring on Mr. Bryan. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good, good. So, Angler of the Year, 2 years in a row. So, how's that feel?
Feels pretty good.
Good deal, good deal. And how'd you when you came into this year? What were you thinking about Angler of the Year? Do you think you could pull it off 2 years in a row?
No, I mean, my mindset coming into the year. Sorry, my dog's scratching her bed, but I came into the year kind of open minded. I was just coming out to have a good time. And then obviously when we started on Norman and pulled off the win there, I kind of, I was like, all right, let's see how it goes. And then where we go next? I think
It was Gaston, right?
Yeah, something like that. But, obviously I had a pretty good start and, kind of just everything fell in place. The lake's kind of set up exactly how I like to fish. And just it was one after another, I guess.
Right. I did notice, I don't know if anyone, throughout the year, I always had in the back of my mind, you had a horrible day at Harris.
Yeah. I went to the same area that I won previous year. I thought they might be set up there because, moving back in that creek back there up at the top of the lake. And I sat there for a little while. The wind started. I was waiting on the wind to come, and hopefully the bigger fish would move up, but they never did. And then I was kind of late moving down the lake, kind of trying to get something started, and it never happened. I think that day was just so strange. I think it was raining and then sunny, and I think the wind shifted 3 different ways. And then find out, a couple days later, people were catching one buzz baits at the other end of the lake, and I was just completely off. I didn't really have a game plan, didn't pre-fish or anything like that, so it didn't really work out.
Yeah, I know the day was weird because I know in practice I had found some fish, not a lot of great size, but I found some bites, so I figured, okay, I could do that.
Yeah,
and, they weren't there. I don't think I got a bite doing what I was doing until later in the day, maybe an hour before the end of the day. I finally got a fish on. It was like brutal.
that lake's tough, man.
Yeah, it was tough. But seeing that with the points all year, I didn't know if people realized that thing was sitting there for you to dump like all year.
Yeah.
So your points, like you were all the way, down 5th place, 4th place, whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to stay there.
Well, that's a good thing about having 5, being able to drop 2 events, obviously, but you're always in. I mean, obviously you can lose it mid-year, but I mean, as long as you have a strong, few events, I mean, you're pretty much in the race. And then with the Gate City Classic, everybody has to fish that. So, I mean, that's the kicker right there at the very end of the year. I mean, you have to do well on that event, or else, you can tank everything. I mean, I'm not one to watch the leaderboard, but like if you're out there fishing and I did the first year I won Angler of the Year. You look at the leaderboard, and you could be midday and few other people already catching fish. You're already dropping on the standings, so it's like you got to make something happen.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was definitely a fun year.
Nice. So you did well. You cashed a couple more checks at other lakes as well, right? You had was it Tuckertown? You got a 3rd place.
Yeah, I think it was first three wins, 3rd place, 2nd place, and I think the Gate City I was 4th. But I think the funnest event we had was Gaston. I think never been to that lake. It was a good time. I mean, they set up perfectly for what and they set up for how I like to fish, and they just kind of came to me that day as the storm came in, so it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, I had fun at that one. I got got a good bite, but I couldn't get the size. It was driving me nuts. I was like, come on, get bigger, dang it. I was
Good.
culling it a quarter inch at a time. It was killing me.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a successful year. Hickory was real close. I wanted to get that one. It's like all winter long, I chase around the spots and I kind of am keyed in on them. So, starting the year on Norman, obviously Spotted Lake, and then Hickory. I knew I had a good chance. But just like spotted bass, they can be one place one day and then the next day they're gone. So, it just worked out, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What was besides Harris? What was the next struggle of a lake?
Can't remember. I know we did the 2. So we had 7 events, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, 7 plus Gate City. Yep.
I think that was the only one that I did horrible at. I don't know.
Where else do we go? Unfortunately, Fishing Chaos is getting an update, so I can't look at stats or anything right now, which is driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's all a blur. I wasn't expecting to do well at Tuckertown. I usually don't do well there. Being that, I like to drag, or I either like to drag something or I like to burn something. So it's kind of 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. But if I had 15 more minutes at Tuckertown, though, because they were starting to set up right before weigh-in, it might have been a little bit different. But, when it's your day, it's your day, and it's not, it's not. But I wasn't expecting to do well there, just because of all that snot grass and stuff like that. But
yeah, the other one was Randleman, and you cashed a check there too, I believe, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Randleman's good to me, man. I actually fished there during the Gate City Classic as well. That's where I started fishing. That was my very first fishing tournament, I guess you could say, was on Randleman, and I won. So it was like, it's just kind of home to me in a way. But I really don't go out there that much. I do some club tournaments on the bass boat during the summer. Out there, but I focused up there in the non-motorized side just because it doesn't get as much pressure. I know it gets fish, but leading up to the Gate City Classic, I really didn't see that many people out there. So I don't think it gets as much pressure as it used to when we used to fish it a lot, I guess you could say. But it's that lake's, it just sets up like how I like to fish. So and like a lot of the lakes this year, it just kind of worked out.
Right. And trying to look at some comments here. Okay. What was your go-to lure? I know usually you're throwing the jig, but I know a couple tournaments you weren't throwing a jig, or it wasn't your main bait of choice.
Yeah, 2022 was the year that that was the year for the jig. I had a good year in CKA and I had a good year at CCKF. This year, I caught most of my fish on a shaky head and a crankbait.
Nice.
Now Norman and Hickory, I focus more on shad imitation. So I like to throw a swim bait when the water's cold. But yeah, this year the shaky head did a lot of work for me this year, because the tournaments other than Gaston, I think, and Norman were kind of post front, so it was just kind of like the bite was slow. You could still get big bites, but that's what I normally throw on days that it's when they're just not feeding aggressively. I like to drag a shaky head or. Yeah, but this year, I love to throw a jig, but this year was not the jig for me. And I kind of switched up weights this year. So I was a little off with it, to be honest. I didn't really get the bites that I did in 2022 that I did this year. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
I changed it up. I've been throwing instead of throwing an actual shaky head, I've been throwing a Texas rig straight tail worm, same tail. But and that was pretty much my key this year. I kept trying to change it up, but
Yeah,
back to those dang straight tail worms, man.
yeah, I broke out the Texas. I break out the Texas rig around the house, and like when I'm pond hopping or something like that during the week and just bored and want something to do, I'll bring it out. But I mean that the Texas rig's a bite getter. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you need a bite, you can get a bite on a Texas rig. So
yeah, usually it's a good go-to. What kind of crankbaits do you like? What's your favorite?
I like throw. Well, a few years ago, Fritz side came out. So I like in cold water. I like throwing a flat sided bait, not necessarily just a Fritz side, but I've caught a lot of big fish on a Fritz side past few years. Not just in tournaments, but fun fishing. And then I just like the OG Strike King 1.5 KVD. I mean that thing. I've caught so many fish over 5 pounds on a KVD 1.5. It's not even funny. But you know, like a crankbait is a timing bait for me. I don't necessarily, you know, I like to burn a crankbait too. So like even when the wind's not blowing, and I mean it could be a calm, the hottest summer day where you wouldn't think you catch one on a crankbait. And I am just burning it, and that's when you get them to actually make them feed. So yeah, if I could throw a crankbait all day, I'll throw a crankbait all day over a jig. But that's just coming from my roots, and you know that's how I kind of learned fishing, was just winding. So yeah,
the moving bait bite's always a little more fun, especially if you got them biting.
yeah, it's timing. I mean, just like anything, it's just when the time's right, it happens, and you know, you just kind of have to adjust accordingly during the day.
Right. You got any special colors you like?
Chartreuse during the summer, and then spring I like red, orange, just more crawfish colors, and like a black. I like black when the water is muddy. And then in the fall I'll switch to my oranges, and I'll mix it up, man. And honestly, I don't even think that. I think it's more of they're just reacting to it rather than them actually seeing the bait. Just they're just, you know, something zooms by them, and then if you burn it and stop and it just stands right in front of their face, then they just load up on it. So I don't think it's so much color unless you're in like super muddy water. But yeah, I stick to like crawfish colors. I don't really typically throw shad colored crankbaits. If I'm wanting to imitate a shad, I'll probably throw a swim bait.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that sentiment with the colors, because I always look at it and you see these people come out with these, lifelike looking things, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, how fast that thing's going in front of a fish under the water in the dark. That they don't see all that crap.
I think more like frequency than actual color.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a clear body of water, like if you're on a super gin clear like James or something like that, I'm sure color has a big factor in it. But I mean, I'm not throwing a crankbait on super clear water anyway. So, but yeah, I like my crawl colors.
Yeah. Good deal. Let's see, we got any more questions? No more questions. You guys, any more questions? Gonna pop them in there. We'll pick the Angler of the Year's brain. It's your last chance to do it before next year.
It'll look good next year, man. I'm pumped up about it.
So, what are your plans next year? What are you thinking?
I think I'm gonna jump into some national events. I think I'll do the Bass and the KBF, some of the bigger ones. Definitely Murray. I'll probably do both of those. I've never been. I've wanted to get down there. Gunnersville is tempting if I can make it happen family wise, and just time. If the time's right, I'll go. The ones that are further away from home, I'll kind of if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then I'll fish some CKA events. I'll probably do I say I don't really care to do points this year because I just want to bounce around and do multiple events. But come March, I'll be all pumped up, and I'll just go and see what happens.
Yeah, that big old trophy shadow that's sitting there is going to remind you.
The baby there ain't no trophies in here. But yeah, I think I want to start jumping into the, just some bigger events. And then just see how I stand out. So, but I'll still stick to my roots. Fish CKA events. I haven't seen the CCKF schedule yet, but I might jump in those as well.
Okay.
Just depending on where they're at. But yeah, I'll probably stay around here, go out national events, see how it happens.
Yeah. So you finished, you qualified obviously, and fished the North Carolina Bass Kayak Championship.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, you did pretty well there too. And that was at Norman again.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky there. Started out the day with 219s, and me personally, as much time as I've spent on Lake Norman, I know if you get 2 fish over 19 inches, and especially spots, you're gonna have a pretty good day if you get a 5 fish limit. So I just knew I was I would be in contention. And then I try to capitalize, but the bite for me was early, and then as the day went on, it just kind of died for what I was doing. But I probably could have called a couple more times. I just kind of got off. I started the day, everything was right, and then it just kind of fell off. But sometimes you just have them days, man. But the classic's 14 hours away. I don't know it. I don't know if I can make that drive. I'm thinking about it, but that's a long ways away from home. So
yes, it is.
something great there, or you go out there and have a good time, or you do well. A great ride home, but you go out there and not do well. That's gonna be a terrible ride home. So.
Oh yeah, to make that 14 hours gets long.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of those 16-hour drive deals, and yeah, it's painful.
Literally painful. Yeah, I don't know if I could sit in my truck for 14 hours a day.
Yeah. Going there is all right because you're pumped up.
Yeah.
Coming back is brutal, especially if you don't do well. It's like, oh man, just beat yourself up. Wow, I should have done this. I should have done that. Oh yeah, it drives you nuts. I did that at Shreveport a couple years ago.
Louis, I want to go down there, man. That area just looks awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. Definitely.
Big factory down there.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that one. Steve says he bought a rod off you, but it didn't come with any talent. So,
say what?
Steve Simpson said he bought a rod off you a year ago, but it didn't come with any of the know-how, and the talent.
Bought a rod?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Huh.
Brian Fowl wants to know how much pre-fishing time do you put in for these events?
Honestly, man, for the past 3 years, I've fished right now I fish 1 day a week. I work during the week. I got 2 kids. So I normally fish Saturdays, and if I can't fish Saturday, if I got something going on family wise, or just life in general, I'll fish Sunday. But yeah, I'm fishing 1 day a week. So I'm kind of just going off of history, or I'm just kind of fishing the moment. Now, like for Gate City Classic, I did practice, but the 3 weeks in advance. I just went on Saturday and just kind of kept in touch with them, and just kind of located some fish, paid attention to the weather. I mean, the obviously, like Gate City Classic, we had all that wind. We had that strong system come in right before the weekend. So I was a little sketched out about that. But yeah, I'm fishing 1 day a week. And I really like to kind of fish the moment. Just kind of fish what's in front of me. Now if we're on, like, for instance, Norman or like Randleman or something like that, I do have some cover that I've fished in the past, whether it be offshore or just stretches of bank that have produced good fish. But I'm not out there every day of the week. I just don't have time as a dad, and I work too. So But during the spring, and I kind of burn up my PTO during the pre-spawn and spawn. So kind of towards the end of the year, that's all I got.
Yeah. That's a problem. It's hard to try to save that stuff when you get good weather and good fishing, and it's like,
yeah. And not to say that we fish the same lakes all the time, but nothing really. It doesn't really change unless we get a lot of rain or like just a crazy weather event comes through. I mean, they're really not like in the spring. They're normally going to be in the same area. In the summer, they're normally going to be in the same area. So it just kind of all ties in. Hush.
All right. There's a specific lakes that we have on the schedule this year you're looking forward to?
Lakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan. Hush. Jordan in June. That's going to be a good event.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real good event. I think this year I went down there with my uncle and my cousin. We just went out on the bass boat on Father's Day. I mean, it was busy as can be. And from 6 to 1, I think I had 26 pounds. So, and that was just and fishing with 2 other guys on the boat. So we're all fishing the same thing. But June, Jordan, whew, I mean, that's a good time of year. Because pre-spawn and spawn down on Jordan, really any lake around here is just another timing deal. On June, they've already done what they need to do. They're in the area, they're ready to eat, and they are eating everywhere on that lake, whether it's shallow or they're moving offshore. They're just hungry, and it's a fun time of year to fish. I think my favorite time of the year to fish is June. Besides like March when you have the opportunity to catch like a 10-pounder, but
yeah, I'd say May and June seem to be the better events, or better, not even events, but just the better fishing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and Randleman. I mean, I always like going to Randleman. It's never really done me bad, but I mean, I have had some bad events out there. I just like fishing Randleman. I really do.
Yeah, it seemed like it changed a little bit over the last couple of years, but it's if you adjust a little bit, you find them and they're there.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I think on the upper end, this is more residential fish. They don't really leave that area. They might set up a little bit different, but once the ones behind that bridge, they don't really come out of there unless there's like right now we haven't had any rain, so they might have pulled out a little bit. But I mean, there's enough water up there for them to stay. Or it just depends on if we get a bunch of rain. I mean, that's the biggest thing is just weather events, I think.
Yeah, it can make for a nightmare for sure. When these lakes get muddied up, I get lost when that happens.
Yeah,
I have no confidence fishing in the mud at all. So, forward-facing sonars have been a factor much this year for you?
Yeah, it has. And not so much scoping and not so much like throwing like a jig head with a little fluke style bait. I don't really do that, or like try and fish for a specific fish I see on my graph. But like as far as how fish set up, like if I go fish at a lake that I normally fish at, and I fish like some cover that I normally fish, or just any lake really, and that I have history on, and I see how bass actually set up, like when they're ready to eat. Like a perfect example is Tuckertown. They came in and they came in 30 minutes before lines were out, and it's just how they set up and how you just kind of time on the water, you learn that. But yeah, I mean, it has been a factor. I've caught some key fish this year because of it, that have probably won the event for me. But yeah, it's a game changer for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I'm the type that doesn't. I'm not going to go out in the. I'm not going to go out in the middle of the lake and just try and fish for one suspended fish, or like, you know what I mean. I'm not going to single out one fish. I'm more using it to see how fish set up on cover, or whether it be a point or anything like that. And once you kind of figure out how they're set up and they're eating, then you can kind of just take that everywhere else. largemouth specifically. Spots are kind of, they're just all over the place. It's hard to kind of figure them out. Hush. And dogs.
You gotta love it. Love it. So you're basically using it as a tool to find and figure out the mood of the fish and what they're up to, and not so much sitting there staring at it, trying to coerce them to bite every 2 seconds.
And finding cover, brush especially, standing timber, more just finding stuff under the water. And I like to fish offshore too. So like summertime, I can get something off the bank. Many people spend time. I mean, that's less pressure on those fish. I mean, not to say that there isn't bass year round on the bank, but I mean, if you've got a chatterbait or a crankbait or a spinnerbait coming by those fish all day long, and a lot of the fish that stay shallow, they don't leave. So, it's kind of hard to get them to bite, but you get the ones off the bank and you figure out how to put 2 and 2 together. I mean, you're gonna catch them.
Yeah. See if I got any more questions here. Yeah, it looks like Jeremy's talking 106 plus inches, I think, for Jordan.
Oh, it's gonna be up there for sure. Upper 90s at the minimum.
Yeah. I actually got my son has a bass boat, and he decided to do the night tournaments on Jordan, and he did the ones on Falls as well. Yeah. And I ended up hopping on his boat with him this spring, and we had some fun.
I haven't spent much. I really want to spend more time down there in the spring. I don't really. I'm so focused on the start of the season or fishing around here. Just my lakes that I typically fish for spawning fish. But yeah, I definitely want to get down there in the spring, and really I want to get down there right now and mark some of that cover that's sticking out of the water, because come June next year, that stuff's gonna be key.
I'll tell you what, some of the stuff last June that fish I caught in one area, it's out of the water right now.
Yeah,
and I was staring at it Sunday, going, "Oh yeah, okay." So when I was that must be the spot right there I was hitting. And then and getting whacked, because I caught like 3 fish like in this one certain little area, and then I found out exactly why I knew what they were hanging on. So it's pretty interesting to check it out.
Yeah, it's fun down there. I like going and fishing that lake.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw some lady was on the some of the dry stuff, pointing out some foundations and stuff that are on there. I don't know if anyone saw that. It's pretty cool.
I saw that video too. It's pretty neat.
A lot of cool stuff in that lake if you look for it. And a couple of the areas was kind of wild because I didn't realize there was standing timber there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, it's a forest sitting there.
Big time.
Which it doesn't affect me too much because I'm just in the kayak, but I'm sure some of these boat guys probably went, oops.
Yeah, I've been on the boat where my uncles lost the lower unit on that lake. It was there's a lot of standing trees up, especially up towards the top end of the
Yeah. And there's a guy who guides there. I guess he smacked his lower unit on some standing timber coming out of, was it New Hope or whatever that's called, whatever that area is. And he's he guides there. He knows all this stuff, but he didn't realize it was a stump there. Sent his daughter, I guess, flying into the front of the boat. Oops. So it's even people with a lot of history there right now can get some information that they didn't have.
For sure.
It's crazy. Some of it's wild too, because even with the sonar and stuff, you didn't see it, and then water goes down, it's sitting right there. It's like, how did that not show up on my electronics?
Right.
It's messed up. Let's see. So Murray is in your sights for bass and KBF. You're fishing both?
Yeah, I'm definitely fishing those two. If it works out to where I can get off, a couple days, because I definitely want to go down there and pre-fish, just because I haven't been to that lake. And I really want to go up to Susquehanna. I love, and believe it or not, I love getting in the river. when I started kayak fishing, I did a lot of river fishing in the Yak and the New River. I really, that was where I caught my first smallmouth, was the New River. So I've got some skills, I guess you could say, to catch some decent fish on the river. And I just want to go there. It's kind of like a bucket list deal. But that's later in the year. I think. Well, actually, I think it's mid-year. If I don't burn my PTO up again during the go.
You'll have it all burned up in February.
Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to Murray. That I mean, it's going to be the perfect time of year to be there. So, and big fish to be caught. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The place has surprised me a couple times. I've been there. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 times, but yeah, it's been awesome. Just wild, the things you see there. It's just like you can fish clear water, muddy water, whatever you want to fish. It's there, and it's fire. Yeah.
That's the only thing I worry about late February, early March is the wind down there, because I mean, you get out in some areas, it's probably pretty intense.
Yeah. There's a lot of creek arms and pockets and stuff though, so you can get out of it. Yeah, because I think it was windy at least one or two of the days that we were there, and yeah, you can get away from it.
Duck away from it.
Yeah. This spot, you just gotta be a little smart with it.
Yeah,
because it is a huge lake, so
yeah,
it's pretty big. Yeah, Susquehanna, the Bassmaster, is going to be there the July 27th.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that. I might have to get a new setup. I might have to have a little bit of a different setup or use somebody's boat, because XI, I'm running an XI3 right now. I don't really want to take that in the river, but I'm looking at kind of building another boat just to have a stern motor for that reason, current and stuff like that. Just to hold position in the river. But I'm sure in July it'll probably be pretty low midsummer, if I don't know. I mean,
I think the last couple of events in the summer there have been really shallow water.
Yeah. And it just depends on the rain too. I mean, you can have a couple thunderstorms and it muddy it up pretty quick, or raise the level. But yeah, I like fishing the river. I like fishing really any river. I've got a little. Actually, years ago, I bought a little Mokai with a little Honda motor in it. It only goes about 10 miles an hour, but it's like a little tractor, and it can just roll up the shoals and stuff like that. So I like taking that thing out in the Yadkin in the spring and catching some big old smallmouth.
Heck yeah. I gotta get some smallmouth fishing in. I haven't got enough of that done yet.
Well, the Yak is good, but they're saying all them spots in there, you don't have as many native smallmouth in there, because I mean, you catch one that looks identical to a beautiful smallmouth, and you look in his mouth, and on the tongue it's got the tongue patch from the spot. But I think they're just they're Kentucky's in there. They're not Alabama, so I don't think it's that much of a worry. But they're saying, I guess biologists around here are saying that the native ones are gonna at some point disappear, or they're gonna be kind of tied in together. But we're kind of dealing with that on every fishery around here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it's a shame.
Big time.
I like some smallmouth fishing.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, Jeremy says sucks no Florida. Well, there's some Florida events. It's just nothing's been announced yet with a couple of the trails, but I believe Hobie's going to be in Florida in January. So
yeah, my butt. Oh, I haven't ever been to Florida and fish. I think the furthest south I've been is Georgia. But my cousin just got back this past weekend. He went down to Headwaters. He fished Headwaters, Kissimmee, and one other lake. He said it was pretty tough. I mean, they caught him, but I want to get down to Florida sometime too. I just don't know about all that super thick vegetation. But I mean, I like fishing grass, but that stuff is just a little mud.
Yeah, it's a little different than what we deal with here. Same thing with Guntersville. I think Guntersville is like, it's insane what the amount of grass and stuff you can fish there. But,
Yeah, I was talking to Justin too. Y'all just got back from Guntersville. He said it's thick down there too.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I don't think it'll be too bad in April when we go there for the
Yeah.
KBF stuff, but it'll be coming. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Hobie's there. Chain of Lakes, January 27th.
Yeah, I think Hobie's coming to Norman too. March. Yeah.
April 6th, which is the same time as the Guntersville Championship, unfortunately. So
Yeah, I know. I would have liked to have gone down. Let me get my dog out of here. Hold on one second.
all right. Yeah, those jackhammers in the grass. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy remembers that. We were down there doing pretty well in the last event in Florida. We had a good time.
Yeah, I want to go down there sometime.
It's fun to go down there. I like going down there in January just because I like to get out of the cold weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice break to get out of it. But
I think pre-spawn starts in December too. So
yeah. And some interesting stuff on the national stuff I've been looking at. I got them all up on my website, and we get Logan Martin Lake hasn't been on anything for a while, so it's cool to see that one back up there.
Yeah, all around. I mean, next year all around looks good. It doesn't matter really. Yeah. All the trails.
And you got the new one with the Kayak Adventure Series. I don't know if you've seen that stuff that came out.
Is that North Carolina?
It's gonna be a national thing. It's
okay.
Drew Gregory put it together.
Oh yeah. I saw something about that.
Yeah. So he's got an interesting list.
They're spread out all over the U.S. I think.
Yeah. You got one in Georgia, Sholipalooza.
Somebody said something about the MLF starting a kayak series too. I don't know if that's a rumor or what, but MLF is supposedly supposed to a trail or whatnot.
That'd be interesting to see. I haven't seen it, but I haven't been paying too much attention either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna probably have Drew on Bass Trail. I think I'm gonna do an interview with him on that series because that's pretty interesting. It's completely different. It's like bring your family type of stuff, and he's got it.
I think there is one on the Susquehanna, isn't there?
Yeah, but the north end of it, I believe.
Yeah.
Or the west, I don't know however that works. And the far, further up the river. I'm trying to see where it is here. Have them all up here. It's Sholey. Yeah, Fiesta on the Susky, August 9th.
That'll be
Yeah, he says further up, it'll be a little different than the normal. Everyone fishes the midsection or whatever of it normally. So it'll be different. It'll be cool. And it'll be in the Ozarks and Michigan. He's got all kinds of places. But yeah, I wouldn't mind going to the Georgia one. I want to catch some of those shoal bass and all that other crap.
Yeah, that's another bucket list item right there for me. I want to catch one of those shoalies.
Yeah. Could be interesting. I mean, I like how he has it set up too, because it's going to be like river and lake. So you have it,
Yeah, I think that being that they're native to the Flint River, it's probably be kind of hard to fit a bunch of people on that. I don't think it's that big either.
Yeah.
Where they're at, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be interesting. Cool stuff. Let's see if we got any more questions. You guys got any more questions? We're getting close to wrapping this up. Chris Guerra says we'll have to have a ref in the kayak if you go to MLF. See how that works.
Yeah.
The amount of times I drop fish, I'll be sitting there waiting 2 minutes every time I turn around. Spend more time in penalties.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Cool deal, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and congratulations on Angler of the Year again. You definitely earned it this year,
Appreciate it.
and we'll look forward to seeing what next year brings.
Yep. I appreciate you having me, man. You have a good night.
You too, man.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
All right.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll have to have some more of these. We got a couple more people who did great. We have Rookie of the Year. Get him on here, and we'll get the Sportsman of the Year maybe on here soon. So something to do in the winter while we're waiting to kick off 2024. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you soon.